Banque nationale et je suis CPA CMA.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trépaillé et Madame Bernier. Nous sommes ici pour vous présenter notre analyse pour AMD modulaire par la compagnie Demers Volney. Nous sommes des consultants. My name is Izehi. We have Min Park here and Naomi Foni on the side. So let's talk about the agenda for today. We're going to start off by analyzing and describing the current situation of your company. We're going to give you our opportunity statement on how to improve on different issues that your company is facing. We're also going to assess the cash flow statement analysis as you've asked us to do. We're going to give us the different recommendations that we have, which is the share issuance, acquire a new factory, continue the new product development, and we're going to have the expansion in Ontario, and we're going to finish with some important key takeaways. So for the current situation, we did a SWOT analysis to assess the strengths and weaknesses of your company. The major strength of your company is that you're the major and only player that does in the market, in the Quebec market, that does modular buildings. You have no competition and you're a very established company. We've been here around here for around 40 years with the mergers with the buyer and vendor. However, as all companies they all have weaknesses that they have to face. You are a company that is a bit non-diversified with the revenue sources. You'll have a major client, which is a school. We take on around 85% of your revenue source. We also have a very high ratio of revenue financed by long-term loans. This could be risky, as it could be risky in terms of credit risk and the liability risk, as you may not be able to pay back those loans as they are very large and significant in a very long-term period. And you also have construction time pressure with school. School is asking you to finish the construction and installation of all the buildings within 8 weeks. This can be very constraining. It can also affect the product quality and the overall income and revenue of your company. And we also have long delays on the payments for the projects that you have completed. AMD is a very strong player in the market, but they also have a lot of factors that can negatively affect their revenue. And we will want to take a close look at those factors later on. Obviously, we're in a world that is constantly evolving, constantly changing. We do have a lot of opportunities that we can take advantage of. The first one is that there's a very high increasing demand for modular buildings. And there's an increasing and strong backup by architects and real estate developers. People think that modular buildings is the future for in terms of construction, especially in the north of Quebec. However, you do face some certain threats. There's a difficult financing problem. You have short-term leases with the projects that you do, and there's also long payment delays, and there's a shortage in the workforce. So you're missing employees for the expansion that you're trying to do. So overall, increasing demand in modular building is threatened by the difficulty of financing and construction. So the mandate that you've asked us to do is to analyze a cash flow statement and provide recommendations for managerial decision. So we've come up with an opportunity statement that with our expansion strategy, you will reduce your credit and liability risk, because as of now you have too many large and long-term loans and your source of revenue is not diversified enough. We recommend you to dilute your shares by issuing 18 new Class A shares for around $1.3 million, which equals to $71K per share, which will reduce your ownership to around 69%, but this will give you the necessary cash flow to take on new expansion operations that will satisfy the increasing demand. Furthermore, we recommend that you acquire new factories, continue the product development, and expanding Ontario in the long term.
So we first analyzed your cash flow statement because that was our first task that we had to do. Overall, it looks like you're carrying on a healthy business. However, when you look at the cash flow statement closely, we can tell that it may not be the case. Yes, in terms of operating activities, you are generating positive cash inflows. However, the fact that the overall cash inflow is positive is due to the fact that we are taking so much loans every single year. So we have a really high credit risk and liquidity risk, as all of our cash outflows are financed, all of our cash investing outflows are financed by our bank loans. And the problem with that is that all of our loans are backed by the collateral, which are mostly, like, majority of the assets that we hold. So we thought that instead of taking only bank loans as our financing activities, we could diversify our source of cash inflows by issuing shares. This is better for the company in overall, because bank loans do put us at risk of bankruptcy if we default on the bank loan payments. Whereas with dividends, there's no such issues that are involved. And with such high bank loans, the cash outflows are expected, and with the cash payments that we have scheduled right now, it lasts up to 92 months. So we cannot take on the additional loans to avoid higher risks. Hence, share issues is highly recommended. As I mentioned, dilution of ownership is involved, and we will do this by issuing stock issuance of share A. Yes, it is very possible that this might not be a very appealing option, as you just reacquire all the shares at 25 times. However, in order for the company to expand and to grow, we do highly recommend to dilute your ownership. Maybe not through an IPO or to a general public, but by finding a right partner. And with this new way to finance your activities, we can carry on the new product development, expansion in Ontario market, and build a factory.
So looking at the stock issuance, we have made a valuation for your company based on the book value of your share capital right away. So your share capital right now on your books includes all your class type shares. So you have A, B, C through E. But your most valuable class of shares is actually your Class A shares, which are your voting shares that are just your common shares, basically. And you, sir, Monsieur Latreille, and your wife have actually acquired 9 years ago the 40% ownership, and now, as of spring 2016, you've acquired the remaining 60% as a 25% time the actual price 9 years ago. So we've made some calculations and actually came up with a $72,000 share price around. Of course, this is not a specific price because you are a private company. So we really recommend you to find the right partner for your company. I know, like we said before, right now you're only you and your wife, but finding the right partner might actually give you the skill set, which will give you this extra edge and also the financing that will be a lot more sustainable in the future to move on to further growth.
So, like I said, the share issuing does allow you to acquire a new factory. Why do we need a new factory? We need a new factory to meet the increased demand of the product. As we have mentioned before, the market is growing rapidly, and in order to take advantage of this increase in demand, we need to create more products. And in order for us to have a potential expansion into Ontario markets, where it will be sales-based, we need to increase our production. New factory is needed to not only meet the increased demand, but also in order to avoid the possible lower product quality from overcapacity. We are already running low on the product capacity, and we are, well, not running low, but we're already facing some difficulties in that matter. So we highly recommend to acquire a new factory. We did some calculations, and acquiring a new factory would cost up to $1.3 to $1.4 million, and this would be financed by the issuance of Class A shares to potential partner that we will talk about in a few minutes. So in one line conclusion, invest in a new factory now to satisfy the opportunity of increase in demand. And also there was an issue of the higher demand. Increased demand for the 2018 summer due to a better economy. This also has to be met, as we cannot pass up on an opportunity that's right there. 60,000 additional square feet is needed, and as 100,000 square feet of modular has been renovated already, we calculate the cost, and $3.6 million is needed to expand the fleet of modular buildings by 60,000 square feet. That would be $60 per square feet for renovation, and new workforce is also needed for the sales and also in research and development. the cash outflow would be $60 per square feet, so 360,000, and cash inflow is expected to be $21 per square feet, which is $126,000. The project ROI is positive starting after 3.5 years, but it is expected to be positive, and as the revenue source is increasing, we strongly recommend to take on this deal.
So now that we've established a strong base for your company by acquiring this new factory, we've looked at your product mix as of right now. So right now your revenue streams come 85% of your schools, your CJEPs, and 15% of that comes from the hospitals and also school boards. However, this is only 2 revenue streams, and 85% of your revenue is only in a single stream. So this is highly unsustainable moving forward, as you're putting all your eggs in one basket, increasing your risk moving forward. So what we recommend is actually expanding, continuing this new product development, because we believe this will bring new revenues, and well, specifically, there is the boom in the immigrants and refugees, and we want you to capitalize on this boom and actually go get this extra source of revenue for your company. So by having this new capacity, we can produce more and sell to this new product category. Also, we've looked at the cost and the revenues which would be generated through this new product development. So as you can see, the incremental costs are $50 and the incremental revenue is $100, which means that you have incremental operating income of $50. This means that just by adopting this new product development, because you made already investments in the past to start this product, now moving forward, it's only positive cash flows, which is really positive for your company in terms of potential new revenues. Also, the application that will be required should be started right away, because it will take 6 months. So if we want to continue with this product moving forward, we definitely need to start right now the certification requirement. And finally, we need to increase our R&D department, which is already good for our company because we're growing internally, which is going to give strength to your company moving forward. So, sorry about that. The expansion and moving forward. So, we've made our capacity. Now we've increased we've kind of diversified. So, moving in the long term, this is a more long-term project. We believe moving into Ontario is a really good idea for your company. So, in this case, it's a similar market to the Quebecois market. So in this case, there is similarities, and this will be easier to make future growth. Also, it will increase your demand for modular, so it's expanding your market in general, and we want to make the sale of those new products. So like you said before, you've grown your capacity, so now we just want to sell more in Ontario, which is going to diversify your revenue stream and help you moving forward as well, reducing your risk overall on your company. Also, we want you, for this expansion into Ontario, we actually would want you to consider a joint operations, not only moving yourself, because that will reduce your risk, and also if you find the right partner, the financing will be much easier because you will be able to issue shares maybe to that company, or you might just contribute a certain asset and you will be entitled to the specific revenues and asset expenses and liabilities specifically to this joint operation. So we believe this is a really viable option. Of course, this is in the long term, and there's going to be differing circumstances coming into moving forward. So this is why we haven't made cash projections moving forward of cash inflows and outflows, but we believe this is definitely a viable solution moving forward, and future assessment will be needed. So the effects on the balance sheets, this will increase your assets for modulars. It will increase your assets liquidity because you will increase your revenues, and also your equity will increase as shares will be we would expect shares to be issued to the Ontario company. So overall, this joint operation will diversify your revenue stream and be really viable for your company.
So for the key takeaways, we know that your company's main issue right now is the risk that you face with all the bank loans and all the loans that you have with your creditors. And the goal and our recommendation, or four recommendation, was actually to try to reduce the risk into actually acceptable level by not taking on further risk and by obtaining the cash flow necessary for operation through shares issuance. So as I said, stock dilution of 18 Class A shares for $1.3 to $1.4 million in order to acquire a new factory to increase your capacity, in order to reduce potential additional costs that comes with overcapacity and a lower product quality that comes with it too. And this new capacity will allow you to continue the new product development in order to diversify your client base into more client base other than schools and hospitals. As Naomi said, we're trying to target people in Northern Quebec, seasonal workers who come to work in agricultural farms for a few months and leave after. Those are very good potential clients that we may have, and this allows us to reduce the overall risk of the company. By doing this, we're also allowing ourselves to be ready for foreseeable future expansion in Ontario markets, to diversify client base. By this time in Ontario, instead of renting to companies in Ontario, we're going to sell or movable buildings to schools especially. This will allow us to reduce risk as well. So overall, we wish that our recommendation and our analysis will allow you, Mr. Trépanier and Madame Bernier, to make the right decision in expanding your company and in reducing the risk that you're facing right now. And as Naomi has said before this, we wish you to find the correct and the most suitable partner for your shares issuance and your expansion in Ontario. As if you want, we could also provide you a list of potential partners, depending on the criteria that you may give us for the next meeting. So thank you so much for your attention. And if you have questions.
I have a small question. It's a bit technical. I'm just surprised that you suggested a stock dilution for the financing part of acquiring the factory. Aren't you scared that if we issue shares at $71,000 per share, you're going to dilute your paid up capital? So basically they're going to lose a major, like I calculated, they're going to lose $20,000 straight up in the tax advantage. Would you suggest another class of shares instead of the A1?
We believe this is the most suitable class of shares for your company. Yes, this would reduce your paid up capital of $20,000. You would be forfeiting this amount. But because if you're actually going for the higher range of, we've actually factored it in. So if you're going more for we made a range of 70 to 72. So on this higher range, $72,000 price, it is more advantageous for your company to actually adopt this class of shares, because like for your Class B shares, they're redeemable. So this means you would have to pay back potentially the amount invested. So this is the most kind of safe option for your company, we believe.
Also about the financing, what kind of investment partner are you looking for?
We're looking for a partner who is in the same industry as us. We decided to suggest a partner in Ontario because, as mentioned by you guys, we're the only player. We're one of the major players in Quebec, so it's hard for us to find another partner similar to us. But for Ontario market, we know that the market is bigger. We can find someone either in a similar market or someone doing a similar type of things for us, such as R&D design for houses. If we partner up with someone who does interior design or exterior design of those kind of houses, we could partner up with them and save up on those R&D expenditures, and we can also profit from their expertise that can bring to us in order to design better houses that we can sell to the Ontario markets.
Like a joint venture, for instance.
That kind of, yeah.
Okay.
You said you would acquire the factory for 1.3 to 1.4 million. Do you think that Mr. Passion would sell it to you since he bought the company at 1.6 million?
We believe that this is a viable purchase price. What how we determine the purchase price is actually a net book value of your assets right away. Of course, the building could have went up in value, but we believe that the price range that we've set up, plus we factored in the patents and certification that would come with the price, we believe it's still a good amount of money, because if you were to sell it, maybe just liquidate the assets, because right now he's not really working his the plant at full capacity. So right now he's incurring manufacturing overhead costs, which are not really important, which are not good for him, because he's just spending the cost and not using the capacity. So I think it would be a good idea for him to actually jump on this offer, and he would be reducing his further costs.
Again, about the factory, what will you do about the subcontractors?
For subcontractors, the reason why the new factory is necessary is because of the fact that we are expanding into a new market, and with all the suggestions that we have suggested, new factory is a must. With the subcontractors, we would try to find a line where it would be acceptable for both of us to come in the middle, but we have not actually considered that part up to this point.
Thanks.
No further question.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do we need that?
Point and try